and welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
if you've ever wanted to attract the life of your dreams, then do we have, yes, woohoo, the
Woohoo!
intention setting. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Show for you. Today we'll talk about all things intention setting, what it looks like, what you want to look out for, and why the plan and the path may not be at all what you think.
Uh-oh.
That plus we'll talk about automatic writing for the new year, setting intention, 4-hour waits in traffic, G&T and fireworks, family ebb and flow, downward dog gone bad, book cover designers daily diving into awe, a New Year's Day review, a circuitous path to a house, pookie to a house that is, pookie is my best quiver, who in the world is Maximillion, and what in the world sales videos gone bad have to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine. Woo-hoo! And I actually sprayed, for people who are watching on YouTube, I sprayed Chakra 2. That's the one I pulled out. So it's about creativity, Michael. It has blood orange, sandalwood, and yin yang, or ling yang. I don't know how to pronounce it.
And we're not talking about the panda.
No, well, Essence the Panda, I don't know. That could work for Chakra too. So, Michael,
Yes.
I heard it's not on this list, or maybe it is, that you launched your automatic writing. So tell me
We,
a
we
little bit
did
about
we
that.
did launch our automatic writing, but what's our automatic writing program. But what's more interesting to me about this, and automatic writing is my number one tool. We'll get into that. Is I sent you over a video earlier this week that I don't think you
I
saw.
didn't see it. What did it show
So
me?
we're recording in the studio facing out the window, which we never do. Jessica's got the camera going, and she's recording me talking about the benefits of automatic writing for the new year, how it helps you set intention, how it helps you create the year, your desire, the dreams, your dream future. And I'm talking about this, and all of a sudden she lets out the biggest yawn imaginable. And all I can see behind the camera is this lower jaw hitting the floor. And there's a warble effect. You get a few more seconds before you crash and burn when something happens on the other side of the camera before
Yeah,
you can't hold your focus anymore.
yes.
And so I'm trying to hold it together. And then I'm like, Pookie, like, how am I supposed to keep going when it's that boring? And she goes, no, no, that was not a yawn. That was me freaking out and trying to hold it together behind a camera because a lion just popped out behind you.
Oh my God.
A mountain lion jumped out from behind me with like a 3-foot long tail or longer and started leaping and bounding off to the side. And she caught it on camera.
Oh my God.
She got video of this mountain lion had to be the biggest ones get to like 180 pounds.
Yes.
This a 3-foot long tail alone. This thing was massive. And so I may have the world's first and only sales video with a cameo from an elusive, rare mountain lion.
Only you, Michael. You know how there are these fantasy movies where they have these animals that talk and move around and do these things, whether it's snakes that come out of like while you're hiking, or fish that nibbled on your feet and cleaned your feet up. I just
Nibblers, yes.
I just remember you going to visit your someone, and I mean, there's so many animal encounters. It's unbelievable. So I think it's totally apropos that you had a mountain lion. So it was jumping around.
It came up, so we've got a hillside behind us.
Yeah.
And so it jumped out of the brush from the top of the hillside, took a 90-degree turn, and then going by leaps and bounds, started exiting stage left.
No one was harmed in the filming of your automatic
Well,
writing thing.
we have a new rabbit who keeps on coming up to the house. I mean, he's calling the outside of our house home. We calling him Declan, and Declan's been we've been putting out seeds and greens for Declan over the winter. I mean, he just recently, and so we were holding a collective breath until we saw Declan the next time. But this was not a hunt. He popped out and then took a 90. If he was trying to actually hunt for something, he would have made a beeline for his prey,
What was he
not come
What
up.
was he doing?
As far as I can tell, well, there's a spiritual significance behind everything. So from
Yeah.
a physical perspective, he popped up the hill, took a turn. from a spiritual perspective, I think a couple things. First off, our automatic writing program, we're extremely proud about this thing. We're like lion proud,
Yeah.
and it was really cool on camera. It was like, okay, cue the lion, and this was basically a one take, and here comes lion. I mean, you couldn't have planned on this.
What can
So,
you tell me specifically what you were saying when the line popped up? I'm
yes.
curious.
And there was a shaman friend of mine who I was speaking on the phone afterwards, and he asked me that exact same question. And I was talking about planning for your greatest future, specifically
Oh.
planning the future, which is really what we're talking about here today. And I was talking about how you can use automatic writing to go in to envision the future, to see what you want that future to look like, to feel that future, and then that future will appear before you. Can't make this stuff up, CJ. We have it on our website. It's everywhere now.
Oh my gosh, that is phenomenal. So Jessica is filming you, and instead of this backdrop that you have now, you actually have the backdrop and back of your house.
Out the windows, it's me by the windows, which are now covered with a black screen curtain for this. And outside the window, we have a cherry-ish tree. It's like cherry blossoms in the springtime. And then behind it, you go another 20 feet, and then it goes down a hillside to a ravine. And so the lion came running up the ravine, crested onto the lawn, which is covered with snow, turned and went to the right and was behind me. I couldn't see it at the time. So in the video, she slows it down as if to say WTF. And in fact, the newsletter I sent out to people said we saw what was it, an MF mountain lion, a mountain flying lion.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so where is this video this automatic writing video? Where is it right now if people want to see it?
I believe if they go to automaticwriting.com, we have it in there. If not, after the show, I'll make sure it's there. We've sent it out as a newsletter. We have it on our social media. And I'll just make sure, I'll doubly make sure that it's everywhere. But automaticwriting.com would be the first place to go to see the mountain flying lion.
Oh my gosh. All right. So talk
So
about
I am
awe.
I did go into automatic writing. So automatic writing, for those people who don't know, is it's a meditative process. You can call it almost like a trance-like state. You go quiet, you go into prayer, and then you allow the pen to move. And you hear, if you're not very spiritual, you're just hearing from your inner wisdom. You don't have to call it anything special. If you are very spiritual, you can call it spirit guides. You can call it Paul Selig's type of guides. You can call it Neil Donald Walls' conversations with God. You are plugged in to the other side. And so I went into automatic writing afterwards, and I have a little bit of a shaman tendency to myself, and I'm like, all right, what's the spiritual significance to this lion showing up?
Right. Wait, and just
And I
so,
got,
just so for people who aren't familiar with it, I'm sure people are familiar with it, but and I'll tell you a little bit. So I've done shamanic journeying before. I've interviewed guests who would probably call what you're doing as intuitive writing. Like, so if you are interested in getting your intuition, because I have a lot of people like, people always tell me I'm intuitive or that I have an intuition, but I don't feel it. How do I get to it? And this is like that's another route into automatic writing where there's a belief that you actually have this internal wisdom inside of you to answer everyday questions, any kind of question to what do I want to, I have some New Year's resolutions with weight loss. How would I go about doing that? That could be something that you do automatic writing. And it could be what they say in shamanic journeying is that you basically get yourself into a very calm place and where your rational mind, the one that like comes up with your laundry list, can go to a different place. The neuroscience would call it theta mind brain waves. You get to a different part of your brain, you access it, and then you hear what wisdom, and it could be super interesting wisdom. It could be like simple things. I hear people say things like just words, images, colors, anything can come up. And then you go in with a question, you get whatever the output is, and then you either write it or try to make meaning of it afterwards. It's kind of like tarot cards, but you're the person who's flipping the cards and you're in using your higher mind to do this. Okay, so you had a question. Your
Yeah.
question was, what is the significance of this? And then tell me how
Yes.
you use your automatic writing process to get the answer. Tell me your
So
process. I'm not familiar with it.
I go quiet, I meditate, I actually put on some theta brainwave entrainment music.
Okay.
I say a couple prayers that kind of create this vessel that you're going to then be within, kind of create this love and light bubble around you.
Yeah.
Say prayers, invoke assistance. And then in my case, I have mild dyslexia. So if I was to try to write, I flip all my letters
Mm-hmm.
and that just becomes incoherent gobbledygook. So I'm on the keyboard and my eyes are pretty much closed. And
Right.
this is a little bit more dramatic than how it came out. And I wish for the notes I had pulled it up here exactly. But basically I got hi, I'm Max. Good to meet you.
Oh, you channeled with the lion,
I
mountain lion.
channeled with the lion. And
Mm,
that was now Jessica had her turn for her jaw to hit the floor. I now had my turn to hit the floor. His name is Maximillion, which I
Maximillion.
looked up and that's power, that's strength. It's one of the most powerful power names that is out there. It was also
Wow.
a leader of a Roman Empire, Maximilian. And Maximilian had this long discussion. Certainly he came and he made his appearance at that time for a reason, but it had specific messages for me for the
Mm,
new year. And for all of us, this is something we can get in automatic writing. We can get dream interpretation. We can look at our day-to-day lives and realize this isn't woo-woo. This is stuff that Carl Jung talked about, now, I don't know if it's 80 years ago or more. Maybe it's 100, close to 100 years ago. The dream world is the waking world, the
mm,
signs and symbols of our daily life being there to serve us. And his appearance was fascinating. And I know how sometimes you do your automatic writing, and I've done this for years and years, thousands of times. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't know. Was that coming from my ego? I'm not so sure. And then I have to do a check, and I can do a litmus test check and see if it is. This was so the opposite of what Michael would say. It was
mm,
really, really cool. So I'm the kind, gentle, easy, good guy.
mhm,
Kind, gentle, easy, good. I bring a boyish charm and I bring more of I'll say a feminine aspect to
mhm.
things. I'm a lot more on a balanced side of things for a guy.
Right.
And I talk about continuously the open-hearted warrior, dropping your shields and leaning forward. And that's going to be our next book. What I got out of the lion was fierceness,
Ooh.
was power, was strength, was Michael. 2020 is not your year of the divine feminine. This is your year of standing in your power, of standing in
Wow.
your strength, of coming into all of your lion like power. It was wow and full on about holding space, about
Wow.
speaking from that mountaintop,
Mm,
um, certainly about uh, pride and power and discernment,
mm,
coming from a much more balanced, powerful perspective. A
mm,
lion, you wouldn't say it's all male power. The female lion is pretty darn strong herself,
mhm,
arguably, probably a better hunter than even the male. But it was such a powerful message of me holding space, of holding presence, of not erring too far on one side, but bringing it back into this power place for 2020.
mm.
And then I was told that this guide, Maximilian, would be by my side, but has been there my entire life. When I was a kid, I wanted the name Max. I had a living uncle that was Max. I'm like, I want to
Mm.
be Max. I didn't know why. But apparently, like we have imaginary friends, I'll put that in quotes. I had Maximilian back then and I didn't even know it.
Okay, so what I just want for folks who aren't familiar with automatic writing or shamanic journeying or any of the things, so you got into theta brain or some process to get you
Yeah,
into an
theta brainwave
altered
state,
state,
exactly.
then you what in shamanic journeying what you do is you actually either go in and ask to merge with the lion so that you are one with the lion, or you can actually go and converse with the lion. In this case, you actually were conversing with the lion, had a dialogue, and whether you converse or merge, that animal has wisdom. And you may say, like, is it literally that animal, or is the archetype of that animal, or is it some aspect of yourself that's bringing forward? And the answer is yes to all three. Because that animal is representative of the archetype. The
So,
archetype
so
has.
I'll just pause you for a second. Jessica said, "Are you going to do automatic writing and talk with the lion?" I said, "I'm going to try." And she goes, "Please ask him not to hurt our family, not to eat any of the chipmunks, the squirrels, the rabbits." And the list went on and on and on and on and on.
Because it is that specific lion, because that lion is part of an archetype. The archetype of mountain lion is like stealthy, strong, quiet, like, because my sons, they're one of them's their spirit animal is a mountain lion. And then, so it's an archetype, and then it's also an aspect of yourself, either underdeveloped that's being discovered right now and asked to grow, or some aspect that you've always had and denied, or whatever. And so this aspect, or it's like none of the above. It's like some higher spirit that is using this specific animal, this specific situation, and this archetype to give you a message. But in your case, you went and you got this fabulous message. And it reminds me, because I've been thinking a lot about this, because my sons also, my husband and my sons are, there's like this. I interviewed a guy a while ago that believed that you have a certain percentage of male and female energy that you come in. And it's not that you're masculine or feminine. It's just like you have certain types of archetypal energy.
Yeah, you got it right. Archetypal energy.
Archetypal energies that are either female or male. So the female will be kind, easy, gentle, good, flowing, just like being, and then the male is like go devour, catch your, and actually,
fierce. That was the word.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
fierce with love, open-hearted, lion.
Yeah, because you have both. Because there's a part of you that's like, someone pedaling faster than you, you're like, I'm gonna get that person. You told me
in the 20s yesterday. I'm out in my shorts. There's a fierceness running to the top of that mountain.
Exactly. So you actually have a pretty nice, healthy balance of the two. But was interesting. But you are saying that you're kind of feeling more towards the feminine, and actually for me, I'm a woman, and I'd actually lean more towards the masculine. So it's interesting that we're both, we're talking, and we actually have different kind of percentages of masculine and feminine, and it's all about the balance of the two, isn't it? Because for me, I'm kind of more driver, and I've got to tell you about my 4-hour wait, because I actually have one of those. This is very funny and embarrassing at the same time. But it's interesting that you got this message about balancing, and then this year it's about the fierceness and kind of the male aspects of yourself.
I've been ordering microphones, which I talked about last week.
Yeah.
And it is about getting my voice out to millions, which is a much more young, outward expansion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rather than the draw in. And that's that fierceness of standing in my power. And I'm like, whoa. So he mentioned at one point, it may be the year of the rat, but it is the year of the lion for you. And we want to hear your lions roar.
Okay, so how's all your tech going? I saw that you got your sales video gone bad. Is that tech issue?
No, that was the sales video gone bad. The lion coming out, the jaw hitting the floor.
That sales video gone well. Like, why is that bad?
That's going to go viral is what I'm hoping here.
Oh my gosh.
But we're working on lights, we're working on mics. Not everything has come in. Not everything have we figured out yet. But all of that will come together. There is still that diving into flow and allowing all of it and laughing into it. I'm laughing. I'm thinking of we got a new stainless steel, what do you call it? Air fryer last night, and it came smooshed by Amazon or smooshed by whomever smooshed it.
Oh no. It was funny or sad. I don't know. I just have a popcorn maker that it's actually air popcorn popper.
Yes.
And then I was like, wait, I don't know if birds are dying from me using this. I have no idea.
Jessica has a theory about popcorn, and when we went shopping this last time, she's like, do you want to get some more popcorn seeds? We're just about out. And I'd had popcorn once in the last month. Yeah. No, twice in the last month.
Right.
She's like, do you want to get any more? And she probably dropped something like, it's not food. And we have a running joke, which is even the ants won't go for the popcorn.
I know.
And if the ants don't think it's food, could it really be That good for us.
I love popcorn, but really, what I love is the butter and salt on it. It's really not nothing. It's a
The butter
vehicle
and
to
salt
deliver.
delivery system.
It's
Yes.
exactly that. Okay, I have to tell you about just talking about masculine, feminine. So I was, um, when you go across the border from Seattle to Vancouver, BC, which is up in Canada, there's generally like a little thing. They now are smart enough, supposedly, to tell you how long of a wait there is if you go one route or the other route. So it's like, so we were coming back this time from Vancouver to Seattle, and it said one route is 85 minutes, the other one is 45 minutes. So we think, okay, let's go take the 45-minute route. We get into this, we get into this. It's the cars are backed up, and like once you're in, you're in. So we're in, and then we're standing in this line that doesn't move, like literally doesn't move. I run across this. I go across like 4 lanes, go to the bathroom, come back, and the car has not moved at all, at all. And then my husband, an hour later, goes to the bathroom, comes back, does the same run. The car has moved like 250 feet. It's awful. So we're all waiting patiently for this supposed 45-minute wait, which is not 45 minutes in actuality. Meanwhile, there's this one lane where everyone's waiting. There's another lane for like people who have a special pass, and then another lane for people with trucks. Okay, so the one with trucks, no one's going in. But some smart guy who's in a hurry decides that he's going to go all the way up on the lane that's meant for people with the special pass, and then cut in to the lane where people have patiently been waiting for hours.
AKA the lynch mob.
Yes.
Were you part of the lynch mob, CJ?
Okay, so this car is waiting, and then there's like a long line of people in this supposed fast, lane that's not even a legitimate lane, but people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to cut in." And so it makes all of us in the lane that has been patiently waiting very aggressive, because we don't want those people who cut in front of us. But of course, like I'm just like, what is happening? So of course I get out of the car and start walking along to use the bathroom. That was my
Hell
excuse.
hath no fury like a CJ score.
But really, it's like, what the heck is happening? Where are these people going, and what is happening? Because I see this other line moving. So I'm like, why is this other line moving and we are not moving? So then I walk up and use the bathroom. I come back and I realize that what people are doing is going into this other lane, going into a traffic, taking a right into a traffic light, and then the traffic light is going on and off because their cars are waiting. But then there's a little gap between the people who are stopped, who can't proceed forward, and the people who cut in line and basically cut in front of all these people in the gap created by the stop sign. So all this stuff is happening, and I was like, oh my God.
You're not going to block traffic, are you?
No. So I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh. So I'm trying to get some of the cars to move over to block all this stuff happening. They're not.
This is just as if you did go in traffic.
And then I see this woman cut in. Actually, as I was walking over, I see this woman cut in. So I'm like, I'm knocking on her window, and they roll down. The husband's kind of like, I'm not rolling it down. The wife is like, roll down the window. And I was like, did you know that there have been a whole bunch of people in this line that have waited for 2 hours so far? So when you are cutting in front of them, you're cutting in front of people who've been waiting for 2 hours. And she's like, oh, well, we were waiting too. And I just can't wait. I can't wait, And I was like, and I'm just ready to axe murder. And I said, so essentially what you're telling me is while we're waiting, you can't wait. And in my mind, that translates to you're more important than everyone else here. Is that what you're trying to tell us? For all the people patiently waiting. And she's like, well, I'm not that big. And then the husband just rolls up the window. And they're all yelling at me. And then I'm just so mad I can't do anything. And I'm thinking, like, people like this should be prosecuted and thrown in jail. Something should happen. So in my frustration, the only thing I do is take a picture of her license plate as my passive-aggressive move. And then she takes a picture of me taking a picture. Okay, so that's
No
me.
ends to the passive aggressiveness going on in the making of this movie.
And then I walk back. And then I'm just like, I don't even remember what car they're, because like I'm like, okay, I understand what's happening. And then as I'm walking back, there are people who are on their iPhones and like just sitting. And meanwhile, all these cheaters come running and like taking in the gap because this person is like reading their email or like sleeping. I don't know what they're doing. So then I'm like knocking on their windows. Move forward. Move forward. And so we got all these cars.
This is lion energy. This is
I
definitely
got all
lion
these
energy.
cars to move forward so that we could at least move forward. Because these gaps that they're creating from reading their email or whatever they're doing is just totally unacceptable. So then I'm just sitting, and then I walk back, and then I hear this pounding on the window of this car, and I look over, and in fact, it's this family again. And they're kids. They have little kids, like middle school teenage kids, and they're knocking on the window and yelling and cursing at me. And I just look at the mom and dad, and I was like, and I yell into the window, "Nice role modeling, great end product."
There was a show, an episode, a good probably 3 decades ago. Al Bundy and his family in what do they call Married with Children,
Mm-hmm.
in a similar situation where they get out of their convertible and beat up another family in their convertible. This does not sound too far off, and I never thought I would bring Married with Children into this show, CJ. You do Al Bundy proud.
I had just hit the limit. 4 hour. We had waited for 4 hours. Now, once we got up to the place where we should have, if everyone followed the rules and if we had actually gotten to the place where we should have been, it was 85 minutes. But because everyone cut in, it was basically delayed us for possibly 3 hours from all of these shenanigans. So
I'm almost afraid to ask, but what did you tell the customs officer about what was going on and what should be done?
by the time we were there, I was like, okay, you've completely lost it, Lou. I was like, what have you done? And I was like, but I just had so much anxiety from sitting there and seeing all these people cheat. And I said, well, I'm curious, is there anything that one does? Because there are all these people like cutting in. And he's like, you know what? We try to stop that, but we just cannot stop that activity. And I said, it just doesn't seem fair that there are people who are cutting in while other people are actually following the kind of rules of the road and following the logistics. And he's like, I know it's not fair. And that was enough. But I was more, I don't know what to do in those situations, but, and I did what I could to like, and then basically everyone at that point, people who had been sitting patiently in that line were getting anxious because they didn't want anyone who was in that cut line to get in, except for the people who were on their iPhones or whatever, and were like, whatever, they just didn't care what was happening, and they were basically allowing all these cheaters to go through. So I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. I don't know if I'm proud or embarrassed or what.
It's life.
It's
Here's
what
the
it
big
is.
question. If you go back there again and you're faced with 45 minutes on this side, let's say that it's 45 minutes on the side that you might get cut in on,
Yep.
or it's 200 minutes the other side.
Yep.
Are you A, going to take the 45 with the cut in? Are you B, going to take the 200 minutes? Or are you going to C, say, wait, I know a shortcut that all of these other people do, and I'm going to be a cutter in myself?
I don't know because I have to tell you, I now know, now that I've seen the whole scenario, I understand
Right.
how to do the ultimate cut, which is you go to the gift shop and you park in the gift shop and you go in the fast lane to get to the gift shop, then you go into the gift shop and you can like cut almost the entire line. So that would be and I actually have known of that shortcut a long time ago, and didn't know that it was true of this place. But even knowing that shortcut, I don't take that shortcut because unless you're really going to buy something, I think it's
Well,
like,
what's the karmic? Is there a karmic repercussion if you go in and you buy something and consider that your e-pass?
right.
I'm going to donate some money in the gift shop. Would you feel bad about it?
Yeah, I think I would. That's how come I haven't done it because I feel like if you truly were going there because you were interested in buying an item, because the intention is to cheat. That's the intention you're going in with. So I don't think I would cheat, but I don't know. I mean, like here's my one exception. Like let's say that you're getting married, you're going to a funeral. Like there's actually some life circumstance in which it's more important for you to show up on time because someone's getting married, someone's dying, something is happening where you really need to pass. I'm totally fine with people cheating. Like in the airport, there was this one woman from Africa when I was in New York, and she was about to miss her flight unless she got, and we were like, would I like the person, she came to us and she's like, oh yeah, and she was like standing outside. And I said, would you be willing to let this person go in front of you? And he's like, yes. Because she was she's from Africa. She didn't speak the language. So he said yes. And then I said, check with that other person there. Would he be willing to let? And so we just kept on moving her until she was at the very front of the line. But I think everyone is willing to do that. If someone's in need, they're in a desperate situation, they're missing a flight, they're going to be harmed through no fault of their own. I mean, they're just confused and don't know what's going on, or I would be totally fine with doing that. I think otherwise it's kind of hard because your intention is to harm others,
Yeah.
right? It's like harm others in the benefit of yourself. Because I knew that there was a shortcut, and there was a part of me that's like, because I'm a gamer, I'm like, there's some way of gaming in this. I'm going to figure out the way to game it and then block it.
Everyone's a bodhisattva until they're behind the wheel.
Anyways, that's a very long way of describing my lion-like tendency. That was me jumping up and down and then like
Yeah.
chawing someone's head off. Not particularly proud of it, but it did happen. But it's
It's
a mix.
interesting because I wanted to talk about setting intention for the new year.
Yes.
That's an interesting intention. You will not get through.
Well, I think is that the intention? The intention is to not harm. Like one person's individual convenience is harming. There are probably 75 cars that were waiting for 2 or 3 hours more because of that one person. So I don't really think one person saving 3 hours is worth 50 people adding 2 hours. It's just not right. So I don't think that was running through my head though at the time. I think it was just anger
Vengeance is
and
mine.
vengeance. All right, what are your intentions? Tell me about your intentions for the new year.
Well, it's just been I've been going into automatic writing. I've been doing a year review. Jessica and I, in fact, we sat down yesterday, so we did it individually in our automatic writing. What did it look like at the start of last year?
Mm-hmm.
Carry it through the beginning of this
Mm,
year, and then we sat and talked together and said, where were we at the beginning of 2019?
mm,
What were we feeling? What were we doing? What were our hopes and dreams?
mm.
How has it all worked out, or not quite worked
Right.
out the way we expected? Although we do feel that lion sense of courage, very a greater sense of confidence
Mm-hmm.
going into this year, but we really wrote about it. And then we set our intentions for the year. And I've mentioned it before. Automatic writing is a huge one. Getting my voice out there through books, on other people's shows, on the microphone, speaking before a large audience, get my voice out there, and then getting a marketing person who in their right mind thought, well, cue the lion for the marketing videos
Right.
to help us get our voice out there.
Right.
So that's been a big piece of it. Or if you ask the Pookie, her only word is baby.
Yeah.
What's your intention for this year? Baby.
Oh.
Anything else you want? A baby.
Oh.
But that means, what are the systems we put in place? Doubling our staff in the last month and a half to get this all figured out, changing everything that we're doing, but writing about it, and doing this in that sacred space so that I call it being an alchemist.
Mm,
You're writing here, but you're also writing on the other side of the
mm,
veil. It's
mm-hmm.
like going to a spirit animal and helping them take you on a journey. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important for all of us to to approach 2020, to approach anything, a vacation, a new year, anything large in your life, the birth or conception even of a loved one, to approach it while setting intention, approach it intentionally, and really get in and write about it. So that's what we've been doing. It's the act of getting in there. I'm guessing you've done something similar, although I know it's an interesting time for you where you're wanting to go more into the flow, more into the letting go of things.
Yeah, so for me, it's actually, I every New Year's Eve have been writing down intentions, and I'm actually going to the extreme version of flow, like whatever gets brought to me, um, I'm here to serve. Like, I'm here to serve, bring it to me, and please bring me the things that for work that are going to be the best way for me to serve my highest good and the good of
Now, are
others.
you writing that down?
No, that's just always like for the last, I'd say 3 years, it's been the same goal, and I'm making improvements each and every time. One is to it's kind of a progression. One is to be still and to listen so that I can actually listen and hear the divine guidance, and then to wait for it. Both of those, which are incredibly hard for me, to be still and to wait, are like my greatest challenges. And
So
so,
this was your perfect teacher at custom, so to
oh yeah,
speak.
I was actually pretty calm, and then it wasn't until that woman, I was like calm, and I was like, there's nowhere else to be. See if you can enjoy this. There's nowhere else you can go because we were boxed in. Like literally, there was like a border and then people who were the cheaters line on the side of us. So we were boxed in, couldn't go anywhere. We were in the car for 4 hours with two teenage boys, and I was actually pretty calm until that like little moment. I think it was hour three that I broke, and I don't even know if really my husband was actually having anxiety too because he didn't want people to cut in. So the whole car was like full of kind of like vituperation, anger, and rage, but not for the whole time. So, anyways, I was still, and I was acting, but it was after a long period of waiting. But I do think like stillness, being quiet, allowing things to come, and to I think the third thing that I would say that I really learned this year and I'm still learning is this very challenging idea that even when challenging things happen,
Mhm.
quote unquote, negative emotions occur, challenging events in my life occur, to view them in a completely different context, which we've been talking about throughout the last couple months of like, it's bad it's bad karma coming now to be released. It's something for you to learn and to kind of keep an equanimity even when these things kind of come along, and to let go. Um, which has been, I'm much better at that, but not perfect at it. But those have been my intentions to like be of service, be a true bodhisattva, be of service and to um, let things flow, to let go, and to be quiet, and to not be so impulsive because that's my triggered. I'm too impulsive. I act and
Yeah.
jump on things. So that's been my thing for like probably the last 3 years. But I guess part of what I'm seeing from last year to this year, there's more refinement. Every year there's more refinement. It's the same goal, but more refinement.
I love it. I love it. And it brings me right back to automatic writing on a daily basis. And yes, everybody, I am making shameless plugs because I think it's such a powerful tool to dive in and hear that wisdom. And that's
Hmm.
what you're doing. You're refining and hearing that wisdom is to go into writing on a daily basis until you have this practice down and you can have these conversations in your mind and say, am I being awake? Am I leading with discernment? Am I taking steps forward in the best fashion? What does this mean for me? What can I learn from it? How can I continuously, on a daily basis, refine and refine and refine some more, or kind of sharpen the stone more and more and more? And that's what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and to have a process where I can go in on a daily basis and say, I'd go into automatic writing and say, you know, automatic writing. What do I need to know about this situation, and why did I melt down
Right. Yeah.
at, at hour 3? And what can I learn from it? Because I know if I was to go in such a situation, what I would hear is, this is the trigger. This is why this occurred. This is what you can learn from it. This is how you can help yourself. And this is why it was actually such a beautifully positive experience for you. And here's how to do something different the next time
Yeah.
around.
I think for me, it's an issue of fairness. That's like a big value that I hold. But that same value, that's a beautiful value, can actually flip its head and cause you anxiety, right? Fairness is okay as a value, but to actually cause that much anxiety, both internally, like it caused stress, right? Um, Releasing stress on other people. I wish I hadn't done that. And at the same time, I don't know if necessarily maybe those people were supposed to learn that they needed to not take advantage of other people, to be more considerate, and that their actions were affecting their children. I don't know. Like, I assume that the best outcome occurred for everyone, including them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, so yeah. Uh, I think it is actually good. The automatic writing is one way, and it can be what I think is really interesting, and I don't think people think about, and what I always loved about shamanic journeying is you can journey for predicting things, like, please give me a sense of the prediction abilities of automatic writing, and those things aren't 100% like they're accurate, but only after long reflection of, like, oh, I did get my voice out there,
Yeah.
not the way I expected, but I did
But
get
it
my
is
voice out there.
it is a powerful tool for helping you at least understand decisions before they've
Yes.
taken
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. So I think they're good. Automatic rating is good for like making decisions. I think it's like understanding things. So it may be like, my neck hurts. So if you believe that physical manifestations of pain are a result of some unattended emotional or message that's been given to you by something outside of your logical mind, then automatic writing can help you with the pain. Writing could help you with, like, what don't I understand about my son XYZ, son, and what they're going through in preschool, because they are not able to cognitively describe what's happening. So someone out there, and you basically know at some level what to do, but there's all these jumbled up pieces of noise that you can't get to the essence of what you need to do. So I think automatic writing can be big life decisions, getting understanding, getting information about the future, understanding yourself better. Like, there's so many different things. You say that you have this acronym AW. What is that? And I assume that that's part of what's happening with the automatic writing.
Automatic writing experience. When you take the time, you're diving into a state of awe. You're going
Mm,
beyond the thinking mind to a place that you can literally find greater joy or greater happiness, or just an awe of clarity, of understanding. If you had a tool where um, you're not feeling like you're in a spinning washing machine all the time, but you're understanding what's going on and why. It's sort of like Jessica, her jaw hitting the floor. I'm thinking
right,
it's the largest yawn. She was in a state of awe.
right.
But we can make this a practice. Yes, you can do it with shamanic journeying. Yes, you can do it each morning with an automatic writing process. But it changes the richness, it changes the tenor. Life no longer becomes hither nither. It all has meaning to it. And a
Mm-hmm.
really brief story to share from a coaching client who is buying the most phenomenal house right now.
Mm,
A year ago, set intention for purchasing a house.
mm,
A few months later, or maybe less than that, went to the bank, and I'm coaching him and I'm saying, I don't have a feeling this is going to go quite as what you would expect it to. I just want you to understand it's all for your highest good. It's all information, and information is neither good nor bad. And I get several shell-shocked emails afterwards. He's pretty concerned about what took place. And I'm like, look, neither good nor bad, but this will help you. Helped him get some finances in order, helped him do different things. The next thing you know, instead of a house, they're putting a deposit on a perfect piece of land for them.
mm,
Near where they work, it's going to work out amazing. 6 months, they've got this deposit down. Things aren't working out,
mm,
and the developer can't get the land developed for some reason, and they have a clause. They get their money back. They're really dejected. They're really sad. But then they find another place. It's closer. It's actually a house and a piece of land that will be in their budget soon enough.
mm,
And it's much less expensive. And they put a deposit down on this,
mm,
contingent upon financing. They finally get everything going with the bank. And what do they find out? They don't qualify.
Oh, no.
And they're heartbroken again, and they're shattered, and their emotions are down through the floor. And then they step back, and he's a big automatic writing person, and so he's going into automatic writing about this as well. And then something tells him a few weeks ago to check out a neighborhood that they hadn't even considered, a town they hadn't even considered. One of the best school systems in the country, all the facilities they're looking for, the amenities, and they had qualified for a loan, just a much lower value or lower amount. And the home they want is actually cost less than that and leaves them money to do a bunch of upgrades and a bunch of other things.
Oh, wow.
All on this circuitous path
Yeah.
where we're thinking, that's wrong, that's not what I want. But if we go and we anchor on a daily basis with a process like automatic writing or something that allows us to get beyond our thinking mind, we can allow ourselves to see kind of the inner workings, the inner mechanism of the universe, which is always guiding us. Just like you said, apparently what I said to this woman and to her family must have been for their highest good, but we can understand that working. And it does bring us greater peace that something special will come out of this. In this case, the most special house in the most perfect neighborhood, all because of everything that went quote unquote wrong.
You know, on my New Year's Eve, we had, my husband had called this hotel. In fact, he called, I did some research. He called, we both did research on the internet. He confirmed, I called the date hours before driving to this hotel that we could actually get a spot on view from the hotel to the fireworks in Seattle. So we actually got a reservation, got into the car, went there, and they're like, there's no view of the fireworks. And actually, before getting into the car, I said to my husband, are you sure? Like, it looks like there may not be fireworks in Seattle because of the wind. Can we get out of the reservation? He's like, no, they told me we could not get out of the reservation. So we go and they're like, there's no view. In fact, our manager said specifically, please tell guests that there's no view of the fireworks. And I was like, I called an hour before, and they guaranteed we had a view. We booked saying that we wanted it. He's like, I'm so sorry. And then we're thinking, well, we're trying to get a view for something that may not even happen. And I said, can we get out of the reservation? And he said, for you, I'll make an exception because I don't know what happened. So my husband is feeling really bad. He's like, oh my gosh, I thought this was a thing. They told me. And I was like, I'm just viewing this all as bonus. Like, I pray that there's like fireworks for everyone in Seattle, but I have a feeling there is not going to be. That's what the universe is telling us. So instead of spending a whole room, like a night in a room where we get no fireworks, let's just go to a dinner and go home and come up with a different plan. There were no fireworks in Seattle. We got our money back, and we were hung out with family and basically had a rockin' time. So you really never know. It felt like, oh my gosh, all these greatest plans didn't really come up, but we actually had probably one of our most memorable New Year's Eve ever. We were drinking gin and tonics with our sons who are now of drinking age.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was very fun.
I had the flip side of this coin. We had a beautiful day out. We did cross-country skiing. Oh my God, is Pookie getting good at the skiing?
Yay.
And we came home early, and we were going to get to bed early. And one thing led to the next, some stuff even work-related. And we didn't get to bed when I wanted. And I want to set ourselves up for the new year. And I wanted to get to bed early.
Yes.
Instead, we're up till 10 o'clock when, oh my God, we could see the fireworks from our house.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's fantastic.
And because of one thing leading to the next and being up late, we're early sleepers. The morning hour is my time to play. I'm up at those holy early morning hours. But there we were, up awake. The universe conspired in our favor. And now we know these long lines of traffic to get to the fireworks, we can actually see from the house.
Oh my gosh, that's the best news ever. That's so funny. Well, I had my little G&T gin and tonic fest.
Yep. Super
dehydrated. Then I got another earthing pillow from not the place you represent, but another probably whatever. It's this idea for people who are not familiar with it. It's using sheets or pillowcases and plugging them that have silver cords that run through them, and then putting it into the grounding wire in your house and being able to feel grounded. You get the same benefits, not the same, but like try and mirrors as much as it can the benefits of walking
Well,
barefoot on the
you
earth.
do get the same inflammatory benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You get the same boosting of the immune system benefits. You just don't get necessarily the of being barefoot. But there's study after study after study after study now of the anti-inflammatory and health benefits of whether you're barefoot on the earth or electricity is going to find its way to ground if you're on an earthing sheet, the same as if you're on the earth. So what
I
you're
saw
doing,
massive long testimonials to how wonderful this is. So I was sold. I wanted to, and I talked to Michael going like, well, my husband didn't sleep that well, but I'm still on the fence. And you had said that there's sometimes that some of it can be dirty energy so that the wires are crossing, you're not quite getting the right kind of grounding. So, but I thought I'd try it again. So I got
yeah,
this grounding pillow. I slept on the grounding pillow, did a hot yoga class. I was a little bit dehydrated from the 2 days before from my gin and tonic fest. Was a little bit dehydrated. I was also doing hot yoga. I slept. I had like maybe 2 or 3 hours on this grounding pillow. I like slept horribly and was just like completely agitated, not in a good mood, which is what led me to yoga. Finished a yoga class where we did headstands, all these different movements.
yeah.
Laid on this at the very end. There's a period called shavasana where you rest. I was lying down, turned my head.
Nobody hurts themselves in
Yeah, no,
shavasana.
the whole room was quiet. And then I'm sitting next to the door. I don't know why, but I'm like decided to sit next to the door. The whole room, it's like 40 people jammed in. I'm like 6 inches away from the person next to me.
Yeah.
We're all peacefully lying on the side. And as we're doing this, the whole room starts spinning. And I'm like, oh my God. So the room was completely quiet. And then you hear this, oh my God, expletive. And then I'm like, I'm spinning. Like I feel
What
like
happened?
I like the whole room is spinning as I'm lying to the side, and I'm trying to be considerate because I'm like everyone's having this most special moment interrupted by my expletive and loud scream. So I open the door. It's like I put a little crack in the door, and I literally crawl on my hands and knees because everything is spinning, and slump outside the door. And luckily, there's a nurse who, bless her heart, comes out. It's like, what can I do? Drink some water. Did you eat anything? And it's like getting me to a place. So I'm literally trying to sit up, and I keep on tipping over and passing out. So all yesterday, I basically spent time basically being dizzy, doing all these exercises to like basically, if you have crystals in your ear, they can get dislodged and cause a sense of dizziness. So I'm doing all these exercises to get the crystals to kind of go back into the flow so I'm not like all dizzy. I've basically slept or got a massage or was dizzy and passed it all yesterday. It was
So
a
if we
nightmare.
look at this from a spiritual perspective,
Yes.
what is the learning? How is this here to serve you?
I just woke up this morning, went to a meeting. I have not checked in, but I will tune in to get a sense. I think how it served me is that I just needed like a day of rest
Yeah.
to just be flatlining, resting. And I got too dehydrated with my antics, my New Year's Eve celebration. Um, and I guess part of it is like I started being afraid to take hot yoga again, and I was like, nope, I better just get in there and do another class soon because I don't want to build in this fear of taking hot yoga because I love hot yoga. So I don't know. I am going to. This has inspired me to kind of tune in and figure out what exactly happened, but it was kind of kooky. I'll do my automatic writing and report to you next week what
Ooh,
happened.
I look forward to it. I
Yeah.
look forward to hearing.
Okay.
So, oh, go ahead.
Anything else, Michael, for you?
I think we call it good for today. I do
Okay.
encourage everybody, come on over to automaticwriting.com, and you can find out about automatic writing. You can also check out the Lion, and you can learn a process that's super, super simple that you can do. To me, it's as valuable as oxygen each and every morning. I want to tap into the universe. I want to tap into source. I want to hear from whether we call it inner wisdom, angels, guides, whatever label we want to call it, giant cheeseburger in the sky. I want to know what's going on today and what do I need to know today. So that's automaticwriting.com, and encourage everybody to live as intentionally as you can each and every moment. And when you find yourself fall off the rails because the 45-minute wait has turned into 4 hours, love yourself up no matter what, and then go back to intention. Go back and remember who you are and why you're here.
Yes, I love it. Love it. So my only closing words would be that as a plug for automatic writing is that once you do this over and over again, you're actually building new neurocircuitry. You're building like habits. And what happens, like when Michael asked me, what happened, CJ? I just was literally quiet. And if you saw me, it was probably like for 2 or 3 nanoseconds. And then I came up with an answer, because the more you do automatic writing, do get into the intuitive flow, the more it becomes part of your neurocircuitry, and you can do what I did in like matter of seconds because you've done it over and over again. So that would be my plug for going to automatic writing, so that you can get it into a new healthy habit for 2020.
I couldn't agree more. And that's how we do these interviews.
Exactly.
You go
Exactly.
quiet, what's going to come out? Well, it's that same voice, it's that same wisdom that you started dialing in. You created that handshake with the universe, or you cultivated that voice, and it gets louder and louder. To me, it's not a booming voice, or it's not a burning bush, but it is very clear as day. Oh, this is what I get to say now.
Yes.
Oh, this is how I get to interact with this situation, or you get clarity, as long as you haven't fully tripwired the fight or flight response.
Yes, agreed.
So, this has been fun. So, for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
saying, be well, have fun, dive into that automatic writing, or dive into that state of awe, and live intentionally for each day of the 2020 ahead, and above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show, and love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.